Hi there guys, so as we know, Anthony Joshua is likely going to be fighting Kubrat Pulev to defend his IBF world title, and he is likely to be back in the ring either late April or May, possibly even June. Now, there were a lot of discussions where Anthony Joshua would fight and who he would fight. I think we can confirm at this stage that it will be Kubrat Pulev, and a surprising frontrunner is the Emirates Stadium. Now, obviously, Tottenham Stadium was talked about, Twickenham also, and the Olympic Stadium, which is home to West Ham Football Club. So there are a lot of different options for Anthony Joshua. He wants it to be in the UK, and if it is in the UK, it will be in London. I think Cardiff is off the table, and everywhere else. It will be in London, and it is those four venues that are the frontrunners to stage this fight. And it seems like Emirates is at the front at the moment, which is quite surprising considering Anthony Joshua expressed his interest in fighting in the new Tottenham Stadium. So obviously, Anthony Joshua has two mandatories that have been called. The IBF came first because they called their mandatory first. Then the WBO called their mandatory Alexander Usyk. Now, Anthony Joshua holding on to that WBO world title relies heavily on what Usyk does, whether Usyk wants to force his position or whether he wants to have that fight with Derek Chisora, which Eddie Hearn has explained is all but done. He's just tying up some loose ends, and that fight will be staged on March 28th, we are to believe. And that would mean that Alexander Usyk is happy to step aside and allow Anthony Joshua to deal with his IBF mandatory and then go into the fight with Anthony Joshua, because obviously Usyk will be fighting Chisora in the meantime, meaning that he can earn money from that fight, maybe some step aside money as well, but he will get his opportunity provided he comes through Derek Chisora. Now, if Derek Chisora does win that fight, then that does throw a spanner into the works. Maybe Chisora gets the shot, we don't know. But that is a very difficult fight for Alexander Usyk. That is no easy fight at all. Derek Chisora is a very, very tough fighter. He is strong as well and will represent Alexander Usyk's biggest test to date, especially considering it's in the heavyweight division. Derek Chisora is relentless and Derek Chisora will not back up. He will be coming forward and applying pressure the whole fight. And Alexander Usyk obviously has great footwork. He has great footwork on the offense, but he also uses his footwork to escape as well. And Derek Chisora will not allow him to do that. He will not allow him any respite because Alexander Usyk is a pressure fighter. He fights at a high pace and has great cardio. But so does Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora is just as relentless as Alexander Usyk. And when you consider that Derek Chisora is a natural heavyweight as well and likes to come forward, is quite powerful. I mean, we saw the Spilka fight and seen what happened to him. So Alexander Usyk will not be able to take Derek Chisora lightly. And you have to give him respect for taking that fight. And obviously that gives Anthony Joshua the opportunity to get his IBF mandatory out of the way and then go in and fight Alexander Usyk, rather than having to vacate a belt. Now, obviously, if Anthony Joshua is fighting in April, May or June, then he will be starting his training camp very soon. He will be ramping up his training in preparation for what we believe will be Kubrat Pulev. And in addition to that, the IBF have just granted them a 2-week extension. They have until February 14th to settle the deal. So obviously that fight is definitely going ahead. So Anthony Joshua knows what he's working on. He knows who he is training for, because that was a big problem in the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. In the build-up, 5 weeks before, I think it was, maybe even 4, he had a change of opponent. And Andy Ruiz Jr. was a very difficult opponent to prepare for because he's just an awkward style, very fast, small, hard to hit as well. He makes himself small and he likes to get on the inside. You can't really find many sparring partners who replicate Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, obviously, Kubrat Pulev is very upright, European style, so Anthony Joshua can find plenty of opponents in order to help him spar for Kubrat Pulev. Hughie Fury maybe even Marius Vac as well. Those would be great sparring partners in preparation for Kubrat Pulev. Now, obviously, Kubrat Pulev has a very good jab. He has reasonable footwork as well, but Kubrat Pulev uses that jab to set everything up. So the best thing Anthony Joshua can do is slip that jab, try and slip it and counter. I think that is the best thing that he can do. The same way he knocked out Charles Martin. Wait for him to jab, slip it, then counter. I think that will be Anthony Joshua's biggest weapon in this fight. Counter shots and also throwing straight shots as well. Those are the kind of shots that will be effective because, as I said, Kubrat Pulev has that European style, very upright and little to none head movement. So those straight shots will find a home. And obviously Anthony Joshua is very powerful and Kubrat Pulev will not be able to stand up to too many shots like that. I mean, if you just look at the Vladimir Klitschko fight where Kubrat Pulev was dispatched in 5 rounds and pretty much battered really, it was mainly straight shots that Vladimir Klitschko threw. And realistically, that's all Vladimir Klitschko really throws. You never really see him hooking or anything like that. He throws mainly straight shots and that is what got Kubrat Pulev out of there. throwing straight shots and countering that jab. And I believe that is what Anthony Joshua will do to deal with Kubrat Pulev. And anytime they get in close, he will bring in that uppercut, which is a very good short shot on the inside. Anthony Joshua is not an inside fighter, but that is one shot that does work when he gets close to other fighters. It worked with Vladimir Klitschko. Even in the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, he whipped that uppercut in a few times, which stopped Andy Ruiz Jr. from trying to get on the inside, which took away a lot of Andy Ruiz Jr.'s success because he knew if he tried walking in, he would have to walk on to a big uppercut in order to try and gain any success. So that handled Andy Ruiz Jr., and that is what I believe Anthony Joshua will do. Try and keep Pulev on the outside with straight shots. Anytime they come in close, whip that uppercut in, and slowly start to break Kubrat Pulev down. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Anthony Joshua is going to fight Kubrat Pulev. We don't know when, we don't know where just yet, but what we do know is that is who Anthony Joshua will most likely be fighting. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click your thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.